Hello. As you can tell from the title, I am almost halfway through the Cosmere, and I am enjoying it quite a bit. So I started with Mistborn Era 1, and then I went to the 11th Metal, that little novella. Then I went to Warbreaker, and then Elantris. There were two novellas for that one. I believe it's The Emperor's Soul, and one other one I'm forgetting right off the top of my head. But now I'm on book 4 of Stormlight in Oathbringer. So I'm in the middle of that right now, and it's really great. It's awesome. Now, if I take what the full idea of the Cosmere is, start from the top, right? So it seems like you have shards. These shards, from what I can tell, were people, or are people, but they're kind of like gods, demigod type of thing. They are named after certain characteristics or traits. For example, in Stormlight, we have honor and cultivation and odium. And in Mistborn, we had ruin, right? And preservation was the other one. So these individuals seem like their characteristics kind of shape their personality a little bit. So obviously the evil ones, they're evil. I'm curious how that plays out, because did they get corrupted when they were potentially people beforehand? Are they just naturally evil? Who knows? They tend to work through avatars, or like champions. And we're starting to see this in Stormlight quite a bit, where, Dalinar is trying to coax odium into accepting about via champions. And the stormfather is kind of telling him this. And I think honor is kind of alluding to the fact that this, they can potentially win this way. So from what I can tell also is these demigods, or these shards, are able to adjust humanity's health and the way that their bodies are made to survive and thrive on these respective planets. In Mistborn, because of the mists, there's only so much food that can be made, or certain things aren't even able to be made. So the humans have to be able to live off that. And it's alluded to that via the use of these shards' powers, they were able to kind of adjust the biology of the humans on that planet. Now, one thing I don't know is if these shards actually did create the humans or not. Because in Stormlight, now we're getting an allusion to this overall creator god, and these shards are kind of under that level. The shards are also able to grant the humans of their respective planet certain powers using their own essence. So in the case of Mistborn, you have preservation is actually the mists, and those mists grant the Mistborn the ability to become Mistborn. In Stormlight Archive, that Stormlight seems to be a part of the gods as well. So they have a hand in being able to grant these. Now, apart from that, how these shards are assigned to which planet, I don't know yet. Are they assigned even? Did they crash onto these as original beings of power and become the gods of that planet? Who knows? Did the creator god truly assign them? These are things I'm kind of curious of. I don't know that we've gotten anything hinting to that yet. So in each story, there's a certain people that are being oppressed on by another group, or there's just certain evils being done. And certain characters will become the hero of the story naturally and lead the people into thriving or rescuing them from this oppression, right? In Stormlight, we don't quite have the full knowledge of like the good and evil dynamic yet. Obviously, they're kind of making it seem like the parshmen are evil, or the listeners making it seem like they're evil, but I feel like there's an overarching bad apart from that entirely that we haven't even seen yet. We're alluding to the Voidbringers. They think the parshmen are the Voidbringers. Maybe that's partially true, but I feel like there's probably something coming, right? So on top of that, these evil shards tend to have influence on certain characters throughout the story. And in Mistborn, you get Ruin directly intervening with characters via hemalurgy, right? I think that's how you call it, where he's kind of controlling them. Now, at the end of the book, Ruin does seem to be able to interact with Vin directly and seem to kind of go against her. And in Stormlight, Dalinar is trying to now coax odium into choosing a champion. So I don't know where that's going to go. I don't know if these powers can directly intervene and fight, I guess I could say. So So moving on from the shards, I know we're getting like a slow leak of information on the overall cosmology of this universe. I like power structures in comic books and in books and whatnot. So it's this stuff is interesting to me. Now on to the wealth of characters that Sanderson has created. Apart from Kaladin, who I'll get into in a second, my next favorite has probably been Lightsong. He had such an infectious sense of charisma throughout Warbreaker, and I loved his ending so much. Then Prince Raoden from Elantris is my next favorite, I would say. Another just good guy, right? Always love those. Moving from him, I really, really also enjoyed Elend and Ven as like a unit. I was really happy to see Elend gain Mistborn powers towards the end and become a hero in his own right. You kind of saw Ven overshadowing him the entire time. Taking a wheel of time. And kind of speaking on them too, as a part of a broader category of things, is the romance in these books. I'm not the biggest romance guy, but I will say that Sanderson in each of his books seems to have a pair of characters or a couple characters that you just can't help but get excited for when you know that they like each other. Put it that way. Maybe it's corny, maybe not, but I like it. Will Shallan and Kaladin become a unit? Who knows? One can only wish. I'm sorry, Adolin. I do like you, but Kaladin's just had a rough go of it. Him and her seem to have chemistry. Shoot me. Now for magic systems across the Cosmere, they're very unique. The most bland one has been Elantris, where you're just writing glyphs and they do different things. Warbreaker was cool, where you're breathing onto, I guess your breath is magic. You can take breath from others. It's kind of a bleak one. And then going into Mistborn, where you ingest metals, and those metals in turn grant you specific powers. That's very creative. Stormlight, pretty creative. It's kind of a mix. It's honestly kind of a mix. You have the idea of glyphs, and then these characters also breathe in Stormlight, and there's different powers available based off of what kind of a surge binder you are, which I guess you could apply that to Mistborn, right? Because some aren't all Mistborn. Some of them can only ingest one or two metals. The most creative part of the Stormlight Archive and the powers regarding that, though, is the idea of these shardblades. Knowing that they are now Spren makes quite a bit of sense. And when they died, right, you get now a shardblade that you have to summon via 10 heartbeats. Never heard of anything like that in a story yet. So, maybe my imagination's just not that built up yet, or I haven't read enough stories, but I think that that's a very creative idea. Adding on to these certain powers, I like that they have hard rules. It gives the story a sense of weight. You feel like there's true consequences, and somebody can't use magic as a plot device to get out of a situation. I'm kind of in the middle of Malazan. I've paused it for the time being to finish what the Cosmere is so far, and I might just restart Malazan in general or go back into it. But there is the magic in there is just so you could do anything. I think that sometimes that sacrifices weight. Having his rules the way that they are creates a solid sense of the stakes being real. Now, the connecting point across all the Cosmere seems to be Hoid. He knows how to jump from world to world, which I don't know how he does. In some books, he's a very small piece. In Stormlight so far, we've seen him the most, but he's still a small piece, right? He just kind of comes in random times. He has a sense of knowledge that makes me think he's a part of these shards, although he could be just another character. He comes to Kaladin in the time that Kaladin's about to just end it all. It's such a good timing of it also, by the way, and he gives him the story that really turns Kaladin around and is like a turning point in the story for him. So I don't know how he fits into the broader picture. I think it's great to have a character like this in this type of a series. It's just different books, but they're all part of the same universe. It's so great. I wonder if there's other books like this or series like this. I don't know. I'm not sure. But he's a really good character, and I'm curious to see where he goes. And moving on to the style of Sanderson's writing, I'm not the biggest stickler on writing styles or am able to like differentiate crazily like some people can. Like, Tolkien obviously seems different than this. Wheel of Time, though, and I know Sanderson had a hand in this, Wheel of Time gave me periods where I was going, I'm kind of bored, right? This seems like a lull. Let's go. Let's move on. It's still a great story. It's so robust. But Sanderson also doesn't seem to sacrifice world building for the sense of progression throughout the story. So it's a nice little balance. It's progressing well, and I appreciate that. It's helpful for me. Some people may call me shallow. That's fine. You can have your own opinion with that. So where am I at right now? I'm in the middle of Oathbringer. They have all gotten to urithuru, and they are setting up shop there. They have kind of already been there for a little bit and deciding what they're going to do next. I think they're getting the Oath Gates situated, and everybody's going to start getting connected. I love the Kholin family as a whole. Dalinar's progression has been great. He's been a really, really key character throughout the series, but now we're getting some backstory for him, so adding a bit of depth. I knew that Jasnah wasn't dead. I'll say it. I don't think too many people are surprised about that, but I knew it. Adolin, love the character. I would love to see him become a Radiant. We'll see. Renarin, been a bit of a side character for the time being. Doesn't know whether he's a scholar or a soldier. Him being added into Bridge 4, though, was such a good moment for him. I think that was a great addition to his character. Interacting with those fellas just grounds him a little bit and gives him some confidence. You know, he says he can see. We'll see if he knows that his brother murdered Sadeas, which I'm not upset about, by the way. But I feel like that's coming, that he's just going to know somehow, if he doesn't already. Maybe I'm wrong. I like Shallan as a character. She's very cool. I think her little multiple personality thing going on is interesting. I don't really know what to think about that just yet. We'll find out. But then moving on to Kaladin. You can only root for him so much, but then you still do. I love him as the hero of the story. His character progression has been spot on. Arguably, it was a little tough for him, more than I thought it should be in the beginning. Like, he could not catch a break. But now he's a Radiant. He's coming into his own. People recognize him for the hero that he is. It's just, his payoffs are just they're so nice. They're so nice so far. I just get such a profound sense of satisfaction when he wins in certain points of the story. And I foresee there being so many more. Sanderson, please don't let me down on his front. I hope he's Dalinar's champion who fights at the very end. I really hope he is. In closing, we'll keep chugging along in the Cosmere. Stormlight has been such a gem to me. I've really loved this story so far. It's been right up my alley. His standalones with Warbreaker and Elantris have been so good. I liked Mistborn a lot. I will say that I can see why people put that at the beginning of their reading lists. I'm not going to use the word simple, because I think that has like a negative connotation to it. But it just wasn't as good to me as Stormlight has been. Stormlight just seems so much richer. And we'll see when we go back into Mistborn Era 2, we'll see how that world has progressed. So I plan on finishing Oathbringer. Then I'm going to go into Dawn Shard and then Rhythm of War. After that, I'll go into Mistborn Era 2 and then Wind and Truth. From Wind and Truth, we'll go into the standalones like Yuumi and the Nightmare Painter, Trust in the Emerald Sea, The Sunlit Man. We'll go from there. I've heard that this probably seems like a good reading order. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. I don't really mind. I'm pretty dynamic about the reading order. Now, after all these thoughts, I'd love to hear what y'all think of the story so far. Don't spoil it for me. Don't do it. Maybe tell me if I'm close. You know, maybe don't give it away either. I'm very interested in what y'all think about it so far. And if you are right where I'm at, let's talk. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you for watching the video. Have a great day, and God bless you all.